That's right. Welcome back to the Puck Drop Podcast. I'm Cole, the NHL Music Man Chapman, and I'm here with Lieutenant Tangle D, Destin Edgington. And we're brought to you by Hockey Stops. Don't forget that. Best hockey mom and pop shop up in Ogden and Logan. And obviously, we've got a lot of new and exciting sponsors going on in the 2025 year. Utah Brewing up in Ogden, one of the best bars and pubs and restaurant vibes you're going to get up in Ogden. Five Wives Vodka. I think I said they're going to be the reasons why Destin calls an Uber.
I'm the one that drove, dude.
and then we've got Beer Bar. Beer Bar is where we host all of our watch parties. We've got one coming up on the 24th. I don't think this episode is going to air before then, but be on the lookout. We are setting some dates for the Beer Bar watch parties coming up. Great people, great times.
Yeah.
No, well, I want to give you a better, proper intro. Cole Bagley from KSL Sports. This guy, he's the guy that you see writing the articles and people cross posting him all over the Utah Hockey Club groups and whatnot. He's all over Twitter. He's the guy that's writing a lot of articles for KSL Sports, which is the home mecca of the Utah Hockey Club. So. And Cole here, Cole Bagley, Cole Chapman. I mean,
one
whatever.
and the same.
Yeah, Destin.
But he does.
Yeah, Destin.
Who gives a?
And then
Give me.
Who gives a?
So no. Let's reverse.
But anyways, we're happy to have you aboard, Cole.
So let's roll back in on some things. I mean,
Yeah.
we can go back on it. Where'd you go to school? How did you land your job? How'd you get into hockey?
Sure.
Let's
Yeah.
pick one.
Let's start with
Let's pick one at how did you land the job?
You want to start with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And good for you.
Cole played
Well
hockey.
deserved.
What you guys missed out on
No.
take one
Well,
was Cole played hockey when he was young.
We're not there now, so we'll
get there.
Yeah.
We're going to start at the top and
Yeah.
work our way back.
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think any hockey fans here in Utah, when they announced the team was coming, my initial thought was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like my heart was on fire. We're getting an NHL team, and I never thought that I would be able to say those words.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Never. I've watched the NHL since I was a little kid. I actually was a Pittsburgh Penguins fan because of Sidney Crosby. That was my team. That was my guy. Mm-hmm. And now it's like there is a NHL team with Utah across their chest, and that's just the most amazing.
It's
thing
incredible.
To me. So that was my first thought. My second thought was, what are the job opportunities?
Yeah. Yep.
And
this was about April of 2024.
Yeah.
That's when I hit my wheels started turning as well. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I just wondered, what are the job opportunities? And for me, I graduated from the University of Utah. I was in the communications degree, but I did a lot of journalism.
Okay.
I worked for the student newspaper. I covered both Pac-12 championships, both Rose Bowls. I've done some journalism in the covering the NBA and a couple other things. I actually covered one of the Frozen Furies.
Okay.
When the
BGK versus
versus the Kings. Which was a lot of fun. But then started wondering
to touch on that. As soon as they the Frozen Fury thing started happening consistently year after year, it was like you couldn't help but wonder
Oh, I knew
why are they doing this here? I mean, it kind of makes sense because we're so close.
Yeah.
This is a test market.
That's
100%.
sure. I've said that so long. I mean, after 3 years, I was like, that's got to be a test market.
Yep.
And then it hit 5, 6 years maybe?
I think
5. It was close.
Yeah, they were supposed to do one again this year, but then obviously,
Utah Hockey Club came in and was like, nope.
Yeah.
And I, real quick to piggyback off of that, I want to say shout out and thank you for allowing us to sit next to you.
Yeah, dude. Hey, at the first was that the inaugural game, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
And so me and Destin were down there. This is a fun little story. Me and Destin were down there early as could be. I think 10
we
a.m.
got there way too early.
Yeah,
Everybody was wondering what you guys were doing.
We packed snacks.
I was like, I know them.
We're just too excited.
It was just like,
But
you gotta be.
Yeah. We were there all day, from morning until night, and Cole came up. He heard about us. He said, "You guys want to come sit with me? Let's hang out." We're like, "Yes, absolutely."
And we just
and you welcomed us, man, and I love that. And so shout out to that.
It was just awesome to see the development of everything going on and being able to kind of record and film and and just have that opportunity to, like you just said, you know, like
It was so hot.
my whole life I've played since like 3 years old.
Yeah.
It's like never in my right mind did I think we were getting a team.
Yeah.
And to have it happen so abrupt and quickly was surreal.
Well, and the other thing that got me wondering is when me and my family were doing the music for the Grizzlies, there was one game where two men in very fancy suits came up and asked my dad. He's like, "Hey, can we sit next to you?" And my dad's like, "Sure." Who are you guys with? We're with the NHL. And
That's
so,
awesome.
and that was, I think that was 6 years ago, I think 6-7 years ago. So
It's just kind of a crazy process how everything goes and navigates.
Yeah, and how quickly and how honestly I
can
think
just
perfectly
mature.
they've been able to do this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how things went in terms of me getting this job. Was it just like overnight? So I had a few friends working for KSL Sports, and Michelle Bodkin. Shout out to Michelle. She's fantastic. I've known her for a couple years. She was covering the Utes for KSL Sports. She, let me know, hey, I'm going to be moving on. Are you interested in working at KSL and maybe, covering the Utes? And I was like, oh, well, like I'd done it for a couple years and I was kind of losing my steam a little bit, especially with where the, kind of the program's been at the last 2 years. Yeah. I just didn't feel quite the passion for it, but I was like, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And then I asked her, I was like, what are you guys doing for hockey club coverage? Like, oh, well, we already have somebody. We promoted someone from within. And I said, okay, well, let me know if that changes. And literally a week later, she calls me and she's like, that guy left. He's not doing it anymore. So their position's open. Do you want it? I was like, yes, absolutely.
You're like, when do I start?
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
you know what's funny about this whole thing?
Yeah.
Nope.
My sister sent me your job on KSL Classifieds. And she's like, you need to apply for this. And I was like, all right. And looking back on it now, and I'm like so glad that nothing even happened with it. And you're the right person for it, obviously. But like, I'm not a writer. I like being on a microphone and just talking to people and whatnot. Yeah. So it wouldn't have fit anyways. But it's funny, like, because I was like so hopeful about it. I was like, holy crap, like this could be the trifecta, And here we go. Cole Bagley got the job.
I'm going to fisticuffs him after this.
I don't even think Destin's heard that story.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What do you have to say, Destin?
I can't say it on air, brother.
That's why you got that button for, right?
I mean, I've had many attempts that have been.
No. I think we picked up on the steam on that one. But anyways, so.
But yeah, I put in an application for it. She got me the interview, and I interviewed on a Wednesday. They hired me Thursday, and it just was like I shed tears of joy when I got the position because like this was my big break. Like I felt, like I said, I'd lost the passion for University of Utah, and
is that what you were doing just prior? Or
yeah. So I had a different 9-to-5 job, but I was still covering kind of on the side as well.
Okay. And so what all were the sports you were covering? Was it like football, baseball, whatever?
Mostly just football and basketball, primarily football.
Cool. Cool.
Doing recruiting, like, when a 4-star commits to Utah, interviewing that kid. And then as well, gamers, going to every game. Like I said, I was at both Pac-12 championships, Rose Bowls, which were amazing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been to 2 in my entire life. Actually, 2 in my entire life. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Go support. That thing, they're so much fun.
Yeah. College football is great, but the NHL's better.
Absolutely. And, without a doubt.
Way better.
So, don't get that twisted either.
Yeah. And just kind of jumped into it and lucked out and very blessed. And it's been honestly one of the greatest honors of my life to be in this position.
I mean, you've been very busy. We've been trying to get you on the podcast for I think like 3 months now.
Yeah. And kudos to you. I mean, you're very responsive and you're very polite and you've been nothing but communicative, which goes a long way. So shout out to that.
Yep.
And again, thank you for actually being out here and having fun with us. Like, now we can dive into some banter a little bit and
this is what it's about, right?
Have fun. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hockey community is unlike anything else.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm learning that very quickly. Yeah. I'm like,
it's so true. And I'm over here like waiting because I've got Theo texting me.
On 2 of his phones.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, Cole's going to be interviewing Theo Fleury when we bring him out next
we're
weekend.
Try to
And
get dialed in on that. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, you deserve it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be
And
good.
I mean, whether we figure out what it
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get it done.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
So I want to hear like your first experience, like what are just like some top experiences that you've had so far
Yeah.
that were like really just like, whoa, you know, like was it going into the locker room for the first time or, you know, let's hear about a couple.
Requesting to speak with T.J. Ginla was like,
you're like, wow,
I'm talking to the first round NHL pick.
Yeah.
Like, and he's a kid. You know, he's like 10 years younger than me, but like the Ginla family, I mean, you're wearing a Flames jersey right now. Like he, you know,
Jerome.
Jerome, you know, I was a huge fan of Jerome.
And Jerome has a lot of history here in Utah as well.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so like talking to Tej, like that was wild.
Yeah.
And going from there, like the inaugural game was just unbelievable.
Incredible.
You know, to be there.
I'm a Hawks fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking back on behind you, like that's one of my jerseys with Ronick, you know, Theo came out of Calgary.
Right.
I mean, there's just a lot of variables.
Yeah, there is.
That. Like, but at the end of the day, I was just going to say, how was it when you initially got to go to the Hawks game? How was that?
Like,
because I'm a Hawks fan, but like,
it was
surreal.
It was everything you could have hoped for.
Oh man.
I mean, to have.
I mean, we were all sitting out there it was hot. It was uncomfortably hot out there.
Sweating.
And we were just, I didn't even care.
Dude,
didn't even care.
That can go forever. Like, I mean, that it can go forever. But
it
keep
was,
going on the more surreal stuff.
It was perfect. I mean, I can't think of a better way to usher in the National Hockey League than you're playing an original 6 team, the Chicago Blackhawks, with just such a history of hockey and success and I mean, just 6. Tradition. Like,
and then another young team, you know, obviously Connor Bedard he's been making waves across the NHL the past couple of years and it was cool, dude.
Well, and shout out to you again for when we went and sat out, because now we're doing take 2 basically, but not initially, you know? So thank you for letting us
absolutely
be able to sit there. But at the end of the day too, like, it's crazy to think that this has come this far.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you feel like the name's going to go now?
That's a good question. There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of discrepancy
kind of going on.
A lot of new stories.
I really
want to
know because it's
I mean,
peeling off the.
I think it's all speculation. You know, I don't know.
Well, there's trademark issues.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's hear about that.
Yeah, and
because you wrote on that, didn't you?
I haven't written on it to this point yet. I'm hoping to have some conversations in the coming weeks on where.
Are we allowed to ask you what your thoughts would be with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like Mammoth or Yeti, Outlaws. Mammoth, Outlaws.
Like, which is my favorite?
Blizzard. I mean, I know there was a few out there.
I mean, my favorite was always Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think like some of the mock-ups that fans did, you know, like they looked really cool. And like the more like historical prevalence and significance, like with like Butch Cassidy and like all the the Old West, right? Like that's
shootout. We've had conversations like that where it's like,
right. You could call Delta Center the saloon, like something like cool like that.
The penalty box, the shootout.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. Like a lot of cool things.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables of market.
Sin bin.
Yeah, but like based on where the colors are at, and those colors are not changing, I think Yeti does fit those well.
I know, and I agree with you, but like that's what sucks too. Is
sounds like Yeti's not happening.
So those colors,
I wouldn't be so sure.
I'm trying to catch back up on a vibe here. With you just said the colors aren't changing.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not.
Cool.
You knew that.
I know.
They will not change.
Trying to get some more out of them, but
and that was in the initial,
but I don't want
press release.
Blizzard, like no, you're taking away from Arctic Circle. Like, come on.
Yeah, there's trademark issues there for sure.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to have something. I mean, the Mammoth. I wouldn't mind the Mammoth.
Yeah, I don't mind the Mammoth.
You know that was one of the first discovered here.
Yeah. I think it just needs to go with the colors, and they've really embraced the winter and the mountains and the snow. That's why I think Yeti works well. Mammoth, I wouldn't mind if it's Mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
People,
that's my vote.
I don't love I didn't really like Venom. I didn't love
If you're gonna keep,
I saw a couple mock-ups.
Venom.
Yeah. With Venom, I saw a couple mock-ups that had like a forest green, kind of color, and it actually was very sick.
But if that's the color, you can't take away from that. Like, you got to go mammoth, like frozen in ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, something along the lines of that, to build the value of what it is.
Right. And so in terms of like all the trademark issues and stuff, like, we'll see kind of how this continues to progress. And like I said, I'm hoping to have some conversations in the next few weeks to see, they're not going to tell me straight up what's going on, but if we can learn where they are in the process and maybe what their mindset is, we'll see on that. But based on the conversations I've had thus far and kind of a lot of speculation,
Fair.
I wouldn't give up on Yeti yet. I wouldn't give up on any of those things.
No,
because
for sure. People can people get bought out all the time.
Yeah. And with trademarking too, like it's pretty common to be denied the first couple times.
Yeah.
Like
it's a complex
thing. They have said like we know what our fans want the name to be, and obviously they're just speaking in terms of the general idea, and that has been Yeti.
Yeah.
Like polls and surveys, like it's been Yeti every single time. And so I don't think they're going to give up on it. I think they're going to keep pushing. But it'll be interesting to see like there are deadlines. Like they got to have this stuff done
But
like
surprisingly,
yesterday.
It's kind of funny to me too, though, because it started out Yeti as quick as possible, or Yetis. I don't know however you want to phrase it. To each their own on that.
I think Utah Yeti is what
should be.
Yeah.
Yeti. Yeah. Because it's
say
like
Yetis.
Moose or Meese.
Right.
We don't straight.
It's not the Krakens.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for clarifying that, because that's like another discrepancy in and of itself. But with that being said, too, though, like I just want it to roll into what it could be potentially better. With that, I mean, in and of itself, Yeti, come on. Like Kraken,
personally,
squid.
The whole like name
Bigfoot,
thing it's just beating a dead horse.
It is, but
it is. I know there's like new stories out there right now, and it's sparked up more conversation as of late.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, I don't even care anymore.
Don't spend the money on it.
I don't care anymore. I'm just happy that we have an NHL team.
I mean, I think that's kind of the message at the end of the day is this team's amazing. They're here. They're fun to watch, and regardless of what their name is, and
we've got great players for a long time.
Yeah, and they're big on Utah. Like what I've been told, like on record, is that moving forward, they're going to keep one of the jerseys the same. I believe it's going to be the white one because they want to represent Utah when they're on the road.
Well, and the hockey club was back in like the 1880.
The original six.
A lot of people just like club. Utah Hockey Club.
Like
if it stays that,
growing on people.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
I don't even care if it stays that.
Yeah.
I agree. As long as we can find a mascot that's not going to, maybe a mammoth could be the mascot.
Yeah.
And you could do an alternative.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about you. I'm sick of talking about the name. Sorry, but
no, fair enough.
So let's hear about some more you've been in the locker room. How was that? How was that your first time post game, pre game discussions with Clayton Keller or whoever?
Yeah,
I want to hear about that.
Like I said, the whole inaugural game was unbelievable. I mean, I had continuous chills throughout the whole thing. My heart was on fire. They're announcing it, and I think the intros are awesome. It was crazy to, your starters for the Utah Hockey Club and, Clayton Keller. It's just like, wow, this is happening. This is real.
And the announcer does a great job. Whoever they hired for that, he's actually really good. I like him. He does a great job.
And they brought in world-class people to make sure that the whole in-game presentation, was good.
Even the light show before where they do the ice presentation.
Yeah, and the mountains on the ice, it looks awesome.
Absolutely.
So I've noticed they have stopped doing the snow.
Yeah, it's on the screans, but I think they stopped doing it because at least what I've noticed, because it drops right in front of me. And it's like a group of 5 people, but it's just snowing on. It's not like everybody. So I think they're just let's just do it on the screen. We're just gonna roll this out. But it's still cool.
It was fun for the inaugural game.
Yeah, and then
they did it a few times, but yeah.
And the fact that I called that Gunther was going to score. By the way,
dude,
so I'm going to pat myself.
Well, we were texting you. We were texting you during.
Knuckle you right.
No,
now,
remember we were
awesome.
texting him during they do it. What's it called before the season starts?
The preseason?
No, not preseason. It was all the young guns.
Not the draft party.
Oh, the rookie camp?
Yeah, the rookie camp.
Yeah,
you were texting us yo, Gunther. I remember you just kept saying his name.
Dude,
Like,
stud.
yo.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Lamoureux.
Yeah,
I think
Lamoureux is
it
good,
was-
too.
And I'm surprised they didn't give Doan enough of a chance. But at the end of the day, you've got so much young talent that where do you fit it in, right?
Yeah.
When he's back now,
And he's doing great.
He's playing
He's
well.
doing great.
Exactly. But
So-
and that's another thing too, though. That I've got a question, real quick. But like, what it boils down to, like, I like Tuna being involved, not just because he's a G. We love
and
Tuna.
he's just one of the best dudes
But
out there.
at the end of the
like,
day, like, he goes out and he is spicy,
Energy.
and the crowd faltered off of that for a while.
and we were
and then he
talking
comes
about
back.
this
Yeah.
prior. Like he's
Yeah.
he's such a different person on ice.
Yeah,
Like
he is.
Oh,
because you
without a
talked to
doubt,
him and
yeah.
we've hung out with him, met him. Just a teddy bear off the ice.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
really is. Well, and he said the same thing about Marchand, and I just can't vibe with that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know? Like, I haven't met him myself, so
Oh, he's great. I'm not a fan of him on the ice. Great guy.
that's what I've
So
heard.
have you interviewed? Have you been there?
I've been around him. I was in Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for working with the Utah Hockey
Yeah.
Club, right? Okay. So
So,
how's that
fair
been?
enough.
Like road trips? How's that? Like just super surreal. Like
mean, to kind
it's
of-
one thing for like the Delta Center and
Yeah.
being in Utah, but like being able to go to like
Yeah.
the different arenas
I mean,
and whatnot.
kind of building off, some of those like pinch me moments.
Yeah.
Like I had a spot on press row at Madison Square Garden. Like what
Yeah.
world? Like that for me was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that game was unbelievable. I mean, that was one of my favorite moments of the season.
And
so
we won
far.
that one, right?
Yeah,
That was when
Keller's game winner.
Yep,
You were there,
yep.
yeah, yeah.
Like, that
Overtime
was-
game winner.
That was unreal.
He was,
awesome.
and he wasn't even looking. He was just like looking at around the
did
ice.
like
and
the fake pass.
Ding.
Just from,
Yeah, he went right to the net, put it backhand,
Yeah,
top shelf,
that
and
was so
a lot of people
awesome.
didn't know it went
that's
in.
right.
And I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stood up.
Yeah.
I was like, "That went in."
Yeah.
Like, let's go. We're
Yeah,
going to the
we're
press
going
conference.
home.
Like, let's go talk to him.
I gotta get
like,
there
let's
first.
call it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. That's
And that was cool. And then
That was one of those moments that I haven't forgotten. Like
Yeah.
throughout the season
That's
so far, it was
crazy.
like I remember I could picture that.
Yeah.
Like, just,
No, it was beautiful.
Beautiful.
And sending all those New Yorkers home
Yeah.
with a big L in the opener, like that was sick.
especially in a square, dude.
Yeah,
That's
no,
crazy.
it was unreal. And then going to Boston and Pittsburgh. I mean, I was a Penguins fan,
Yeah.
growing
Oh.
up. So, another pinch me moment was, so the game I went to was obviously against Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Utah won that game, but Crosby scored goal 600.
Yeah.
So to be there for that was cool.
That's the one I was
man.
remembering. My
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I got to interview him.
Yep.
And
That's
that
what I
was
was remembering.
that
My bad.
whole like process. Like I'm there covering Utah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I gotta go talk to Sid.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna
absolutely,
get this
dude.
chance again. So run down there, go outside the locker room. There's like 30 people to talk to him because he scored goal 600.
Yeah.
And so I like push my way up to the front and they open the doors. I like, sprint in there and I get right up front, but there's like all these cameras. And so I literally am bouncing on one foot, hanging like this, trying
Isn't
to
that
get.
where you got the interview of like, hey, what does it take for Keller to become a great like you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was trying to
great
think.
interview, by the way. That
I
was
appreciate
that was
That
a
was
great
huge.
question.
I was
That
just trying
awesome.
to think of like
how you could tie
something-
in Utah.
Yeah.
and I
Well,
wanted
of
to like
course.
write an article,
No, that was
based
fantastic.
off it. So I just asked him like, what advice do you have for the newest captain in the National Hockey League? And like I'm shaking as I'm doing it because I'm like, oh my gosh.
hey, those things go noticed. Like if you put an effort of like thinking of unique
Yeah.
questions,
Authentic.
they do go noticed. I just want to assure you.
So it
of
was
that.
The
it was fun.
authenticity of it. Man.
Yeah. And it was
love it. Give
it
him a
was like it was crazy though. Like that's my childhood hero. Like
Fair.
I've got so many Crosby sweaters. I've watched all the cups he's won. I was watching on TV as a kid. I remember the Winter Classic in 2008. That for me, like after I'd talked to him, I went into the center of the locker room. And I just looked around and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I just talked to Crosby. I'm in the locker room. So
All right.
What do you think about the team? Let's go with this. I'm going to interview you.
okay.
Do you think we're going to make playoffs this year?
You just want like a yes or no?
Just like a
Can I be the
based
third
on
party?
based on what you've seen, injuries, momentum, all of that.
Can I go third party on this real quick
Yeah.
before he answers?
Do it.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say just based off like knee-jerk reaction right now, I'm going to say no. But
That's kind of my knee jerk.
but I'm not
as
a
well.
complete. But I don't like. Hear me out on this. Let's see how this team does over the next like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like they just had two big wins.
That's hockey. Like that, you just never know with hockey.
Right.
Momentum is such a thing.
But we had
It's-
two big wins.
Yeah.
Big wins.
Huge.
But I think we need to figure it out at home.
Yes.
That's our problem.
Consistency is the issue here.
Yes.
And not just necessarily like not just at home too. Like, can they put together like a 5-6 game? Where they're picking up most of those.
But we've
points.
showed that.
Yeah. But the other issue too is like Gunther isn't back for a while.
Right.
Probably not going to get Dursley till the last month of the season.
Right.
Sergachev still is day to day. Like that's why I'm like, if you're asking me to predict it now, I'd say no. But that can change.
Do you want to go Buffalo nickel on that?
Sure. But man, they played
far across. I'm going far across.
They played so well. Honestly.
I'll happily give that to you if they make the playoffs.
Like without Sergachev, Marino stepping up. Marino's getting more and more comfortable. It seems like you could tell. Like the first game, he was just kind of like a filler, just kind of in there. But like as the games progress, it was like okay, Marino's becoming like that Sergachev. He's becoming that guy. So
I
mean, it shows you the brilliance of what this front office and Bill Armstrong is building,
especially how quick it happened.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, when I say as quick as it happened, obviously they were a team initially, but there's been some changes. Mm-hmm. But what it's going to manifest into now, and moving forward in movement is rapid as well.
Well, and Destin has said something recently that I was like, you're 100% correct. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we're on a rebuild. That may have been true like 2 years ago, like the rebuild was starting.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the build.
Yeah.
It's not like we're not starting a whole new rebuild here in Utah. Like, granted, it's a new state, it's a new arena. I mean, if you're talking along those terms, yes, it's a rebuild. But as far as the team goes, it's like they're in a build right now and they're figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, there was an article on this. I think one of the major NHL reporters did an article on, how long does it take to rebuild? And it's generally like 8 to 12 years.
Yeah.
We're in year 4 right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think it's going to take 12 years.
I don't think so.
I think it was like
3 years. 3 years.
Tampa Bay was the 12 year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
From the time they drafted Stamkos to the time they started winning cups.
But look at like back in the 2011 when Chicago came out.
Yeah.
13, 15.
Right.
And they were young.
Yeah. That was like 3 years. And Pittsburgh, the Penguins were the same thing, like 3-4 years rebuild, and then they're winning the Stanley Cup. Yeah. So for this team, I would guess like, let's see where they're at the 6 and 7 year mark. So give us like another 2-3. Then I think they're going to be good. Cause like just kind of to give fans there's so much potential and hope with this team. Mm-hmm. Like this season's fun, but imagine 2-3 years down the road when Logan Cooley is potentially one of the best players in the National Hockey League. This guy is unreal.
How long do we have him for?
He's coming up for an extension, and I would anticipate they're going to give him another, the same thing as Gunther, which should be another 8 years.
I saw that and I was like, wow.
I mean, he's 20.
Yeah. You got to tie that in.
So Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther is a sniper. He's fantastic. He's here for another, 8 seasons. You've got guys like TJ Ginla, Kobo Dwan, Lamoureux, Simashev, Daniel Bo, Josh Doan. Like this team is so rich in talented prospects. Plus, they still have picks to take, and they've got guys like Sergachev and Keller and
veterans.
Like veteran, Marino. Like this team is built to be successful, but it's going to continue to take time, and that goes back to that consistency thing, right? Like you think of how good these young kids are. Like Cooley is playing 6 to 7 years ahead of how old he is, but he's learning how to do that every single night. Yeah, Same with Gunther, and even Keller. He's 26. He's the captain. Yeah. He's trying to figure things out. So give this team some time.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I wish we weren't out of time, but it was great having you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much again, Cole.